Hello everyone and welcome back to Classic Comics. Today I'm reviewing Batman number 113. And again, this is the latest issue in the big Fear State crossover in the Batman books. Again, this is by James Tynion with art by Jorge Jimenez, and we get this nice splash page here. Batman swinging through the city. Anyway, to catch up, so we've got someone impersonating Oracle and broadcasting messages through the city that are obviously intended to just drive the citizenry into an even higher state of fear. Presumably this is the Scarecrow, although we don't know that yet. And then we go to the commissioner's office, and Renee Montoya is the commissioner of police now. And Batman comes to see her. And he lays out the situation, how Simon Saint is behind all of this, and he and the Scarecrow were working together, but now Scarecrow has broken away and he has his own agenda, and the Insanity Collective, they aren't terrorists, they're thieves, they're criminals, but they're not terrorists. And she says, look, you've got to get me some proof of this. I believe you, I want to believe you, but you're going to need something concrete for me to convince the mayor that what you're telling me is true. So he sets out to meet with Ghostmaker, and then he encounters some Peacekeeper robots, and he dismantles them, and it's a pretty nice action sequence here. And then we move on to this brownstone, basically, that Batman is living in. He doesn't live in the mansion anymore. And the Bat Caves, as such, is really just the basement beneath the brownstone. Now, last issue, we contacted Ghostmaker and wanted to meet with him. And I'll put a link up for my review of the previous issue. But Batman breaks out this kind of headset here, and Ghostmaker says, well, what's this thing? And it turns out it's a kind of a shortwave, as he describes it. It's rudimentary sort of shortwave telepathy. One person puts on one headset, another person puts on the other one, and they can it's kind of like a mind meld. And he says he wants to mind meld with Ghostmaker and have Ghostmaker poke around in his memories to figure out if the Scarecrow has planted any kind of false memories or subliminal programming in his mind, because he's figured out that Scarecrow isn't just using the fear toxin now, he has some kind of mind control technology. And then they find this memory of Batman being sort of brainwashed and tortured, psychologically tortured, tormented by the Scarecrow. And while Batman and Ghostmaker are witnessing this sort of psychological torment of Batman, the figures of the Scarecrow and the Batman figure in the memory sort of come to life and attack Ghostmaker, and he defeats them. And then he finds Batman's, which I guess is supposed to represent Batman's subconsciousness, which is kind of trapped in here, and he frees it. And that sort of breaks this subliminal programming, I guess, that Scarecrow had put into him, which honestly is not really clearly defined. This is kind of the weak part of the issue. They don't really make it clear just what these implanted memories or implanted sort of programming is. But then Ghostmaker says, well, I have a memory of mine to share with you. And it turns out that years earlier, Ghostmaker had come to Gotham, and he had met with Jonathan Crane, because in previous stories, it's been established that Ghostmaker is kind of a sociopath. He doesn't fight crime because he cares about people. He just does it because it's a challenge to him. And Batman had said that part of the reason, one of the things that holds you back as a crime fighter and understanding criminals is that you don't understand human emotions or normal human emotions. And so he met with Crane because Crane was doing study in emotions, of course, particularly fear, and sort of attempting to try to understand them better. And it was during this time that Crane laid out his theory on the whole fear state. So Ghostmaker has known about this fear state thing Scarecrow had. that the Scarecrow had all along. He just hadn't admitted it. And what's interesting here is this is supposed to be the Scarecrow, but it seems to me like the way he draws the Scarecrow's face, he kind of looks like the Mad Hatter did in the old Bruce Timm cartoons, you know, as far as his facial features, which is kind of puzzling to me. I wonder if he didn't get the characters confused. But anyway, he lays out the theory, and he says, first, there must be a shock to the system, the introduction of abstract fear on a wide level. It primes the people. Then you must seize control of the narrative being provided to the public. You push the media to fan the embers of that raw fear into a flame. Then you must start to focus that fear into the shape of what that society needs to overcome. A straw man that can funnel all that abstract fear together. A figure I like to call the Scarecrow. At this point, with their fear heightened to a point of clarity, a pure state of fear, or fear state, you push the people to confront the Scarecrow figure. And having conquered that fear, they rise, having been made better. And part of his argument, and it's an interesting one, is that really it's fear that has driven human evolution. Humans have evolved because of fear, because of their fear of predators, you know, of being killed, of being eaten. And it was learning how to evade predators, defy them, drive them off, and of course also learning how to survive out of fear of death, you know, which really propelled human evolution. And he complains that in modern society, you know, we're sort of very comfortable and coddled. We don't really have to be afraid of anything, and so we're not evolving. And he says that the only way for humans to get better is to put them in this kind of fear state so they'll be forced to grow and evolve through it, which is an interesting idea. And then after they finish the mind meld, they talk about, you know, who, basically in his plan, which figures are which, and they decide that the Unsanity Collective are sort of these false scarecrows that have been put up to kind of throw them off, and the real Scarecrow figure is Peacekeeper-1, and they have to find him and get him off the streets. Then we go to Peacekeeper-1, and of course in his delusional state under the Scarecrow's influence, it looks like he's massacred several civilians, and then Peacekeeper-X arrives and confronts him, and that's where the issue ends. Or, well, that's where the story ends. There's also a backup with Clown Hunter, which, again, as most of these backup stories, it's, you know, it's whatever. I can take it or leave it. So, overall, you know, it's another installment of this storyline that is kind of slow. One of the things I had enjoyed about Tinian is that he didn't do a lot of really decompressed storytelling. But when he did, he's such a good writer that it worked. I didn't mind. But the last issue was kind of slow. This one's kind of slow too. But all the information he lays out about the fear state, about the, I don't know, philosophy behind it, I find very interesting. And it really shows that he's put a good bit of thought into this. And I was kind of impressed by it. So again, while it's kind of a slow issue, I don't mind so much. And of course, Jimenez is such a good artist that, you know, he makes even sort of slow stories visually interesting. I mean, look at this panel here. This is great. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this issue another thumbs up, even though it is a bit on the slow side. And let me know what you think of it in the comments. Have you been reading Fear State? Have you been enjoying it? And if you would, please also hit the like button and sub to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.